excuse running late. My name is Nancy Van Rees, and I'm the vice chair, and I am going to call this committee together for Parks, Library, and Recreation. We have two things in front of us today. First of all, Resolution RS 2018-1068 from Henderson, Vercher, and Roden. It was approved by the Budget and Finance Committee. Accepts a grant package from the Friends of Warner's Parks to the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation to provide staffing for the Warner Park Center, Nature Center support, and the SWEAT program for additional labor for summer maintenance.
I'll move.
Okay.
Is that the one we deferred last time?
No, this is something different regarding summer maintenance activities, right? Is there someone?
Can you share money?
They are like summer help.
Sure. This acronym is for?
Sure. Oh gosh. They work on the trails. I'm sorry. These are seasonals. The SWEAT program are summer seasonals that work on the trails and help maintain Edwin Warner Park or the Warner Parks. In this package of grants, there are two separate grants. There's the SWEAT piece, and that's about 8 seasonal positions. They just work during the active season, so summertime, spring, summer.
Students and stuff like
It could
that.
be, yeah. And then also there is a staffing grant that funds a full-time office position for the Warner Park area there, and then 3 part-time naturalists that support activities out there at the park. I know we had a discussion about another grant last time that was pulled out, but the full-time person here has been funded by this grant for about 20 years. So she's a long-term employee. Her salary is at about $50,000. And so the Friends group pays the salary piece, and we, Metro, funds the fringes.
That was the question last time.
And that was a different one.
But that was the same question.
It was a similar question, different, yeah.
Do we do that for others? I mean, that was the concern.
Yeah, that was the question. To kind of chase that rabbit a little bit, since it is sort of relevant to this question as well, did you get the answers that you wanted in regard to that, and with this being Warner Parks? I
think, we as a committee had spoken with then Director Lynch and spoke to Director Odom just about that pattern, I guess, of having an employee that is funded by a nonprofit that we very much appreciate, that's park supporting, but then, that those fringes are, or the benefits are done through Metro, and that I was not here last time. I apologize for that discussion. I was up on the Hill related to some legislation, and so I don't know what you all as a committee.
Well, Mr. Roden raised that issue at the time, and there was some concern, whether or not this was something we do just for this particular group, because I know we don't have a lot of Friends of Parks like we do on Warner.
Are there other parks and Friends of Parks groups that do it, not just Warner?
Well, there is the one that was before you at the last meeting.
Centennial.
And that was the Centennial, and we pulled that one. I think a part of my discussion, the issue was the salary level, quite frankly, of that employee. This one, Friends of Warner Parks, funds these positions, and then we also have Friends of Two Rivers Mansion. It's a little bit different because the employee that is partially funded by the grant from Friends of Two Rivers is a Metro employee. She was a full-time Metro employee, and so with her duties being split between Two Rivers Mansion, they were gracious enough to pick up 19 hours of her salary. We do still pay the fringes. If for some reason that grant went away, she would just roll back into the Metro budget where her position has always been. So,
but this $50,000 position, is that new?
No, it's been in existence for probably 20 years.
Have we been paying the fringes for 20 years?
Yes. So this employee is vested. She is vested. Yeah.
So I think the conversation was the last meeting, if we wanted, especially where we were financially and looking at other things, if we wanted to continue to do that. At this point, because of where we are financially, and especially in the areas of if it's happening over in an area to where they have friends and they're able to financially hold that up, and the other parks that are struggling, like that may not have AC in their gym, we could actually do some things there, or if we're not doing them to all, we shouldn't do them to any. That's what
I think that was the gist of it.
Roten was bringing up, and he was not able to support that at that time. And I think there was a consensus of that.
Yes.
Did I hear, I have not watched all of your budget hearing, and I know we will have our own budget hearing, but did I hear that Parks is considering outsourcing some of our employees?
We're considering let me just, because some of our employees heard that too, not outsourcing current employees, rather than in our budget request, not requesting additional employees and using a contractor in place of that.
So rather than hiring employees, we would
use a vendor.
We would outsource.
Yes.
And so typically when we outsource, those jobs are not as quality jobs as Metro. And I think as we are having this discussion about who we're paying fringe benefits to and who we're not, when we outsource, I think we can all agree that outsourcing is not as good of a quality job as it is if we had it.
It's an interesting discussion, but doesn't necessarily relate to this issue.
I just wanted to bring it up as we are discussing this and when we get to the budget.
What I wanted to make sure is that on existing gifts, if we say, no, we don't want that gift, it's not as though someone else is going to come in and do it. We know that Metro, you're not in a position to hire somebody to take up that. And the Friends of Warner Parks isn't going to necessarily give into a fund for other parks. The desire is for that park. So I'm wondering if now is the time, and I want everybody's feedback on this, if now is the time to approve what has been offered to date, and then make sure that if we as a council feel like the Parks Department needs to change the rules regarding friends ofs, that we make those suggestions as a separate matter. I don't know. I want feedback on that.
I hear you, and I guess it's one look. I served on the park board for 10 years, and I'm very familiar with the Warner Parks people. They make a lot of grants and do a lot of things for that park. But I think that the issue comes into play. Here's a very affluent part of our city, which people can afford to, hire somebody as a director, whereas somebody can't hire anybody at some of the other parks for the same type of position, and we're paying the subsidies on the fringe benefits. How much are we really talking about in fringe on this?
On the fringes, it's probably about $25,000.
Because the question was, could we use those funds for some of the other parks that need basic kinds of things?
Or districts that don't even have parks.
You're basically looking at a parity issue.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Yeah, parity for everybody else.
And I guess, Nancy, to what you were saying just now, like, maybe this is the time we say, Parks, you need to look at this. I feel like that's what Angie said last year. And so are we going to just do this every year, saying, Parks, you need to look at this. We're going to hold our nose and do it now, but you need to look at it. Because I feel like Angie's been very clear, and this committee's been clear about our uneasiness on it.
And that is my understanding, just what you said, that is my understanding when I talked to Director Lynch last year about this, because I know he addressed you all last year, and my understanding was that, yes, you look at your practices in this thing, but the folks that are already in, the one from the Conservancy and the one from Friends of Warner Park, those stay in, and when those people vacate those positions, that's the end of it. We're having no more grants that, with the fringe, we pay the fringes and that type of thing. It will have to be completely funded by the grantor.
And so I appreciate that for going forward. I guess just to have a certain level of understanding here. I mean, I think you have somebody who's, worked in this park, and it does become a little fuzzy, and Director Odom and I have talked about that sometimes. It's, even when you're a friends group at the Warner Parks, all the emails that you get come from .gov, and so knowing, what is the friends group and what is Metro Parks administration, and kind of where is that line. And I think relationships like this make that line still fuzzy, but this is someone who I think has been essential to that organization and the work that they do at the park. So we have a kind of historical relationship there, but so that's kind of the balance of honoring what is heretofore a Is it a commitment? Was it? I mean, we're doing this every year? This is an annual.
It's recurring.
And so up to this, last year we raised some questions about this, but prior to that, for 18 years, had no other council member inquired about that. Okay, so then it's. Where's that line? Because people kind of rest on, well, every year it was never a problem, it was never a problem, it was never a problem.
When do you stop?
Well, and then I will add, too, I totally understand what you all are saying about the parity issue. The Friends of Warner Park is very supportive of the department, so there are some costs that they incur that we're unable to, which is great. We have a really good partnership with that Friends group. And then the SWEAT operation. That's why I'll continue that, what the acronym means in the morning. But those programs and services that they offer are really beneficial and help us to expand the programming at the Nature Center, which we wouldn't be able to do without that.
Well, how is it appropriate for us to request, well, I don't even know whether or not we need how to do this, but if the council were to request for parks to indicate to these positions, this is the last year that benefits will be offered, so start raising money, because next year, if you want to keep them, it's going to cost you more. How do we do that? Because
by resolution. The charter does give the Parks Board near autonomy over the operations of the Parks property and Parks operations and budget. This body has control over grants that are requested, for example, this grant application, for example. So there's the rub.
And so would it be sufficient, I don't know, would it be sufficient for this body to send me something in writing with what you just said about not extending? Yeah. This is the last year for the fringes to be covered by Metro. And then I share that with the park board, and of course we reach out to the friends groups and just make them aware.
Well, if it's appropriate to offer that in the form of resolution, then that allows additional comment and discussion amongst the body regarding that action.
I think that's fair, because we did raise that concern last year.
Right.
Here we are again, but I don't think we want to give the impression we're kind of pulling the rug out.
Right.
Somebody who's worked for the water parks and done a good job for all these years. But I think we're clear on the record here that that's not something we want to continue. And if we can send you some sort of communication where you affirm that and you are on the record in that regard.
Yeah, I think that document you're looking for would be in the form of a resolution, would it not, Michael?
Or I can prepare a letter for you to circulate to the committee members.
Just to the committee alone, committee only. Is that appropriate?
How many more do we have? I have another committee. Okay.
Metro employees, though. Fringe benefits, most of that is pension cost, healthcare cost.
For full-time employees, most of it is pension and health care.
Pension, that's $25,000, that's mostly pension and health care.
Pension and health care.
So the Friends group could always hire a consultant and avoid the Metro.
I think that letter would give them some ideas as to how to do that. Okay.
I think maybe the letter, and I'm not, this is just how it's phrased, we don't want to think we're just pulling the rug out, like you said,
Yes, exactly.
with some explanation as to why, for parity.
Right, it is across the entire system.
And that would be great, because I have been working with, since I pulled the last one from the Conservancy, I've been working with their director to move her off of Metro payroll. We are moving forward on that. So.
And as I said earlier, they do things they've done over the years. When I was on the park board, that really helped the system that are beyond this.
Well, that's the thing, we want to be grateful that we provide some equity in.
No, it is not.
Mr. Syracuse, did you have a comment?
I don't know if it affects Two Rivers.
Yeah, it doesn't affect
It is, right.
No, we voted on that before you got here.
That will be coming up next.
With that discussion, we have a second. Are we ready to vote on this resolution? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone against? And with that, we are asking staff assistants, having listened to this conversation, to draft a letter to get to Mr. Roden for approval, since he wasn't here, and then we can send it out to everybody. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
How many are it? 1, 2, 3, 6. We've got 9 people here, y'all. That's pretty cool. 9
Next one quick.
Okay.
Is the next one quick?
Yes, ma'am. This is resolution RS 2018-1128. Approves an application for a Youth Development Center grant from the Tennessee Department of Finance and Administration to the Nashville Public Library to improve community adults, out-of-school time educators, families, and school staff readiness to support positive child-youth development and cultivate safe environments in the lives of children and youth in school settings, after-school settings, or at home through training, coaching, evaluation, or tools.
Motion.
Approved.
Any discussion? It sounds awesome. All those in favor? Anyone against? All right. Thank you very much.